It was like my third or fourth time calling him. And this was at night. And I'm like, all right, text him a million times. It's the third or fourth call, I knew he wasn't at work. So I'm like, what's good? What's up? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna let it rest for tonight. I was worried. I was anxious. I did not know what was going on. But I told myself if I didn't talk to him by the morning, I was gonna go over there. So morning came. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I guess I couldn't really sleep because I was like stressing, like why he not picking up his phone? All types of thoughts running through my head as far as like, is he sick? Different things. 8 o'clock, I start putting on my clothes. I'm like, all right, I'm going out there. And I'm getting ready. And at the time, my mom, my sister, and my cousins was like, where you going? And I'm letting them know, like, listen, I'm going. And they're like, well, we're going to ride with you. We're going to ride with you. So I'm like, okay, all right. Y'all better hurry up because I'm going out the door. So as I'm driving out, you know, my mom did try to give me the heads up a little bit. She was like, you know, Shanae, you know, you need to mentally prepare yourself because it may not be what you think. He may not be sick. I'm all worried and stressed, just trying to get to his house. So what she said flew right over my head, just flew right over my head. So I get to his house. It's like, again, it's early in the morning. I get to his house and I go and I knock on the door. And I'm standing there for a while. I could hear his dog barking. I'm like, what's going on? Now I'm really getting worried. So after what seems like forever, the door opens and a female answers the door. So now I'm like, what the hell? I'm like just shocked. Like I'm just standing there staring. I'm going through all the different stages. Like I'm shocked, I'm angry, I'm embarrassed. My mom happened to be with me. My cousins was with me. And it's just like, I'm just looking at her. She looking at me and I'm like, you know, is he home? And she's like rubbing her eyes. So she clearly slept there. Her hair was all over her head. She looked like she just rolled out of bed. And I'm like, yo, where's he at? So she calling his name. And out of nowhere, looking guilty as ever, he appears in the background. And I'm just staring at him. At this point, I'm stuck because I really didn't even know what to say. I was about to curse him out. Like I was really about to go there. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. My family's here. Like I just felt stuck. And I felt embarrassed. Like the red flags was right there. So I'm like, really? I'm like, are you serious? He couldn't say anything. He couldn't say anything. I'm like, this is what you've been playing me for? This is what you've been saying? Oh, you're going to work extra hours? Or, you know, you're doing this and that. Or you at your cousin's house. But meanwhile, you got a whole other girl. So I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, is she the side chick or am I at this point? I really don't know. Because who was he lying to? And from her reaction, she wasn't even mad. So I'm like, all right, this is weird. She's not mad. If I am the other girl, I pop up at y'all door and you say nothing, you must be used to this. Meanwhile, I'm questioning him because I don't know her. And my whole thing is, a lot of females tend to do this. You will confront the female instead of confronting the person you're dating. Confront the person you're dating. The other person doesn't owe you anything. So I didn't take anything out on her. I was just looking at him. And I'm like, are you serious? So at this point, we know what it is. And it's clearly he's been doing him, screwing around. And my mom, everybody is all upset. We're all yelling. And I'm just like, yo. He's like, I'm like, so this is, so I start asking him questions. Like, so this is what you're doing? And honestly, you could have bought him for $1. He didn't have an explanation. He didn't know what to say. He was caught and all he could do was shut the door. So at this point, I'm looking like an idiot. I'm standing out there early in the morning, going off. He shuts the door and his neighbor I can laugh now, but his neighbor opens the door because he's trying to be nosy. I mean, I would be nosy too if I saw that happening. So I can't blame him either, but it was about to be like prime time for the neighborhood. So I decided to dip. I decided to leave. And, emotions was raw. Like on the way home, it's like the ride home, it hit me. And I just started crying. Like, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is somebody I thought, we were serious. He met my family. Again, remember, family. But there was red flags. And I didn't realize that until it was like way after the fact. Because I cried it out. I even got home and he called himself calling me, telling me off, like, how could you come to my house unannounced? Da 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 da, like going off. And I'm just like, I hung up on him. Long story short, some time went by and I had to really evaluate that situation. Because there was red flags, and while we were dating, there was red flags. I chose to ignore them. I chose to give him the benefit of the doubt in spite of the red flags. So then when I pop up at his house because he's not responding to my call, he's not answering my calls, he's not responding to my texts, what happens? I get embarrassed, I get shut down, and he shut the door in my face. So this is the lesson that needs to be learned. Because, a while back I had posted a reel and, there was some going back and forth in the comments about, I would, somebody said, oh, I would, go to his house and check on him and, make sure, he's all right. And then somebody, commented back and was like, oh, okay, so that's what it is. Like, you really like that much in love? Like, you really, gonna do that much? And, I wasn't directly involved in that conversation, but I started thinking like, wait a minute, I was that girl. I was that girl that, wanted to pop up at his house to make sure he's okay or, whatever. And I got played. And I can say this, if you are with somebody and there are red flags and you choose to ignore them, you have to take accountability when it explodes in your face. Because if you keep ignoring red flags, all you're going to have in the end, or all you're going to be in the end is hurt. You're going to have a lot of regret and you're going to be embarrassed. And I had to go through all of that. And I had to realize this, you know what? Some of this is my fault. I saw these red flags. I chose to ignore it. I chose to still continue to go out and try to enjoy my time with him. But at the same time, there was things he was doing. I'm like, okay, he's playing me. And I kept ignoring the signs until I couldn't ignore it anymore. And it was right in my face. The situation was in my face. So again, if you are in that type of relationship, just leave. Just when you see them red flags, don't be so desperate to be in a relationship with someone because you don't want to be alone. No. Sometimes being alone so you can heal, you can say, okay, what are the things that I need to fix about myself? Because clearly I'm willing to accept certain things that should not be accepted. So why is it that I'm doing this? Why? You have to evaluate yourself. And then you also got to take accountability for some of it. Because, yeah, it may not be your fault if they cheat on you. But certain characteristics and behaviors that they were doing and you chose to accept it, you got to ask yourself, why did you accept that? And you can curse somebody out. You can smash their windows and you can do all of that. And again, in the end, they're not going to be with you. So ask yourself, is that worth it? Pay attention to the signs and make your exit. Make your exit. Start slowly, not responding to their calls. Start fading out, just fading out on them, okay? Because at the end of the day, your mental health and your spiritual health and your peace is not worth all of that drama. It's not. So if you don't want to be the person on the end of the door, on the other end of that door, getting the door slammed in your face, embarrassed, then please take heed to the signs and the warnings and just leave. Just get out. You deserve the best and you deserve better.